So a few days ago, I had to go to the emergency room. And although it was a pretty scary kind of ordeal, it was particularly insightful, and I'd like to share why. I'm Melvin, and I'd like to weave you a riveting tale. So get comfortable because I have a story to tell about impermanence, about purpose, and about realizing what life is really about. Before I begin, this is not medical advice. Do not take what I say as medical advice. Do not follow my example. I'm simply sharing my insights in hopes of kind of expanding your mind and your awareness about things. So let's get on with get on. So about a week ago, I started feeling this like kind of persistent but intermittent chest pain that was a little hard to ignore. And so given the importance of the organs in the chest, I felt that it might be important to handle this with some gravity, some seriousness. And I guess kind of because this happened over the course of like a few days. The first couple of days, I'm like, okay, it's not that bad. Like, I'll take a couple pills. Like, sure, it's fine, whatever. Until it felt like, okay, this is hard to ignore, so it's probably best that I go and get checked out. And so at its peak, I won't lie, I was a bit nervous. I thought, what if this is a heart attack? What if I have blood clots all over my body? What if this is grave? What if I'm having a stroke? Like full monkey mind. And like, of course, like health stuff can be serious, but it's like, okay, it's likely not all of those things. So once I decided that I would go, I rushed to the hospital. And funny enough, while I was on the way there, I think potentially because I knew relief was coming, or at least closer monitoring was on the way, my awareness opened a little bit. It's like the space in my head kind of expanded for me to see a little teeny tiny bit more clearly. And like I was thinking about some things before getting on the way that I will double back to. So I get to the emergency room, and luckily enough, when you have chest pain, you get the fast lane to care. So I didn't have to sit and panic for hours, which unfortunately is a feature of like the US healthcare system. So I go through, I get hooked up, poked, carted around, laid down while I'm talking to various professionals and answering questions and asking questions and all of that. And so after that, as with most visits, I got you hooked up, we're monitoring you, and so then there's the wait, which is where things started to get really interesting. In this waiting, I found a kind of magic, a shift that either echoes or is the answer to all the work that I've done for decades and certainly the last few years. While I was considering the worst, I realized I wasn't scared. I wasn't fearful. I wasn't, I'll say, too apprehensive, and we'll get into the slight apprehension. I didn't and don't want to die, but I am not the least bit afraid of the other side. I'm not the least bit afraid of what happens next. And of course, I have mere human ideas, but the general sense that I get is that I'll be fine. Like I'll be fine whenever I go. I won't even say where I'm going because that comes with so many connotations. But it's just like I am safe and okay returning from whence I've come. And so that bit about before I was on the way to the emergency room, whenever I was thinking some interesting stuff, like at that point, I had like a roughshod plan of what I would do if they told me I only had like a little bit of time left to live. And like, I want to be honest and frank here. I wasn't on the floor, like doubled over, gripping my chest. It was just a bit of heaviness and like the slightest kind of achiness that was just persistent. But what I can say is that I'm a recovering catastrophizer and a teeny bit dramatic. So it's just like, okay, this could be a headache or it could be, but while I was on this at least mental precipice to the other side, I did consider what I would do if I didn't have much time left alive or alive in this body. And I realized it would be this. Maybe not YouTube specifically, but I was thinking, how and in what way can I get as many videos as possible, as many audios as possible of all the insights I've gained, all the tools I have before my untimely demise? Like, how do I do that? Like, no thoughts about a will, but thoughts about a streamathon from potentially a hospital bed, talking about how we're souls and bodies, how we have distinct and valuable missions, about not fearing death, that we live forever and we are always with power because we are the power that is animating this whole thing. That we are awareness. Like, I'm thinking like, will they let me do that? Can I set up a thing? Like, I also thought briefly about the gravity of doing this from my would-be deathbed and that being my priority. It's like, no, I mean this thing to the last moment. Like that'll really deliver. That'll drive it home. So I guess I'm also a little bit of a stunt queen. So in this same vein, because this is before I got to the hospital and like nobody was up in arms and things weren't going off and nobody grabbed a defibrillator. I'm in the hospital bed waiting for doctors to come back, ask questions, provide some kind of update. And so during this time, I was prayerful. I turned inward and I am just in my own internal space. And I very clearly realized that I found the work of my soul. And the simplicity of it, like, really smacked me that the work of my soul is to enjoy my life, to enjoy being on earth with all of its delights, and to remind other people of the truth of who and what we are and what this experience can be. Not denying what it is for many of us, but what it could be, and the fact that we are the power that can make or stop that from happening. That the work of my soul is to play and to remind other people of this truth. And in that moment, I just had the sense that, wow, like whatever happens, like in this moment, like I'm satisfied with what all of this is. I'm at peace with what all of this is. And so, me being me, this moment also had some humor to it. Because I've read so many accounts of people who had near death experiences who said they saw a loved one or the entry to the legendary tunnel, this brilliant light. And in this moment in the hospital, I had this profound sense of agency and choice. And so I thought like a light bulb went off. I don't know if it was a light bulb or one of the blinking flashing things that was kind of connected to me, but like a light bulb went off and I was like, yeah, I ain't leaving. I'm staying right here. I got work to do. Because before I went to the hospital, I also had that sense that I'm like, am I okay with dying? I'm just like, I think I'll be okay. And then I thought about the amount of work that wouldn't get done that I have like kind of signed up for, and it's like, no, that's taking the easy way out. I can't possibly not do the mission. So that's a no. That's canceled. Like cute that you consider that you're okay that you've arrived at this place, but no, it's the work board is too full for you to just say, you know what? I think I've had my Earth experience because I still haven't said the thing. I still haven't offered the thing. I still haven't touched people in the way that I intend to, and I think I might be getting ahead of myself. But I envision because I have time. I'm just kind of like sitting here. I brought stuff, but like an iPad, a notebook. So I did it on many levels. I didn't think that I was actually going to die, but also I was just like, whatever happens, I'll be prepared. But I considered like getting to the crossroads and meeting like a family member or a spirit world tour guide and being very frank of this was all great. Everything looks good, but I'm going to be heading back. And I don't know how time works up here, but I imagine I can't be away from my body for very long. So we might want to wrap this up. Like look at the look at the audacity on this one. And so it was also during this time that I thought, oh wow, if I survive this experience, and mind you, I am perfectly stable. I'm perfectly stable at this point. Like a teens dramatic, like stunts and shows. If I survive this, I'm gonna share about this particular experience. And here we are. And then it all became this humorous but turning point of an experience, and I was much more at ease and at peace that even though I had planted my flag on this land, I was also perfectly at ease and okay with retiring this body and form. Crazy. And like I can't even identify when the shift kind of happened. And me being as spiritual as I am, can imagine it being a helpful realization before and in support of whatever comes next. Hopefully it's not more dramatic than that, but like, who really can say? So the doctor eventually came back after x-rays and a variety of other tests that they'd run and let me know that there was nothing wrong with my heart, that I wasn't having a heart attack, I wasn't having a stroke, and that I've never had a heart attack, which was oddly very important to me. And none of the strange and frightening things that I was imagining happening were happening. I got some expensive hospital meds too. A fun little Tylenol, aspirin, ibuprofen cocktail. I'll be getting that bill probably a couple days ago. Remember that a big chunk of my training has been in psychology, so psychosomatic illnesses have not ever been off the table. Funny enough, since then, and I think since the doctor saying, hey, we ran the test, everything is fine, I haven't experienced that same pain in the same way post like the cocktail, unless it lasts for 3, 4, 5 days. I'm not experiencing the same weird sensations. Despite that, I am marching forward with a new awareness, a new lease on life, and a second chance. No streamathon necessary. Now, though, is the window of time where you have to not go back on the promises you made when you were on the brink. And so it's interesting because now I feel like I'm at the stage where, and of course it can change and morph, and it often does, but I'm at the stage where I know what my contribution is, what my work is, and I can take the opportunity to give it much more seriously. Seriously, but lightly, because my days of zealotry and crusading are over. I have plans, ideas, and goals, but in this moment, I can be okay and at peace. I can be calm knowing that this is not the place of finality. It's the meeting place of billions of souls, soul curriculums, lineages, frequencies, elements, histories, ideologies. It's like a never ending marketplace that we also happen to live in. What I was intensely moved by is seeing all the people in the emergency room whose illnesses and whose pain wasn't mentally conjured, whose bodies were overwhelmed by one illness or another, and I felt a deep sense of concern and kind of care. Looking out on the changes of society, of the healthcare system, the financial system, I see so many people, so many souls who want better, are working very hard, who are trying very hard, and don't deserve the battle being waged against them in their lack of awareness about who and what they actually are. Like the whole game or the whole trick is to kind of forget that we are more than these human bodies. But inside of these human bodies, we can experience very real and very painful things. And seeing that in the emergency room was deeply moving. And not in this hyper spiritual, like, oh, they just don't know that they're soul, but it's just like, I see and feel that this is like really, really intense for you, and you can be arrested by fear, not knowing what can happen next, or if you have the resources to do anything about it. And then also, like, this is kind of not the place where you stay, so we've kind of got to shepherd you along and kind of move you on because we need this bed. I don't think purpose in being who we are is this magic pill. These bodies are meant to retire and eventually be decommissioned. So the answer is not, oh, find your purpose and you won't have to go to the doctor. But the fire of your being, the fire of your soul does help and enliven the body. Or at least, as in my thankfully temporary case, you can be at peace with another outcome. The physical correlate of this like soul work is doing the work that most moves you to do, that most excites you to do, to the ability and to the degree that you can, which is not, and now I'm more aware of, and is rarely very, very spiritual. It's rarely these lofty things. If you heard me earlier, I said the work of my soul is to enjoy earth and its delights, to enjoy myself while reminding people of who and what they are and the truth of what this experience can be. My greatest, easiest, and most important contribution is just being with people, doing this awareness work, and then simply being in my energy with people. It's not convincing, it's not recruiting. It's, hey, come see what I see and let's enjoy ourselves. Or not. The hard way is freely given and amply available. While I was in the waiting bed, though, I considered my own spiritual correlate to the physical pain that I was feeling. In my over preparation for this mission, in my hermitude, I have accessed more of my heart, more of my spirit, more of my capacity to love. But I have not actively been loving to the degree, the capacity, and my ability to, like keeping my attention on other people, like reflecting them back to each other, giving my soul's contribution to this experience. I haven't been doing enough of that. So although I don't think that my heart is blocked, I've not been given what's not only mine to have. Not withholding, just not pouring out. So it could be a little bit of bloat. But again, I'm not a medical professional. Don't take this as medical advice. I'm just sharing insights of like an experience that I may or may not have had. I had it, but like, I think when we do this work of awareness, of seeing ourselves, of letting go of old ways of being, our lives, and a lot of this happens automatically, but our lives and relationships have to be updated and upgraded to kind of hold our new state of being. And so I think the benefit of this, for however long I have left, which I'm aiming at like 80 years across the horizon, I do really want to see a few cycles of like humanity kind of happen. But like for the duration of my life, it just means that I get to be more loving. Like all of this work that I've kind of cultivated to myself is beneficial and can be in service of other people in ways that aren't self-sacrificing. I don't believe in that no more. Like, I'm not a public utility. I'm an individual with purposes, likes, and a willingness to say no. Another thing that I learned and gained from this experience is that as much as our society would like to deny the importance, the value, the existence, the impact of emotions, if we don't work out our emotion and we don't work out that energy that otherwise moves us to do things, it gets stuck and it gets worked out, or it morphs into something else in our bodies. Then it can turn into an illness that requires a hospital visit that is real. And then now we have to handle the outermost symptom, again, medical advice, that outermost symptom, which is the right thing to do, which can then plunge us into the victim mode of this thing is happening to me and I don't have any power. And so, illness aside, if we aren't shedding beliefs that we are powerless elsewhere in our lives, it's unrealistic to think that we can weather medical storms or any other disempowering circumstances with clarity, because at that point things have reached far beyond we can actually deal with them, or that we can deal with them with the clarity of mind and the knowingness that things eventually on this plane or another are okay. And then there's, for me, again, there's no expectation that you remember that whenever you're racked with pain and you're in the emergency room. So it's like the work is what we can do when things are sunny. It's like doing the internal work when things are kind of clear and that we have space, and not simply being passenger to where life takes us after life has gotten the best of us. And it's also funny, this irreverence for emotions whenever we're mostly being governed by emotions and emotional people. But hey, I've said before that the key to our future, our collective future, is our hearts. And so I think that that is not only figurative, but I think it also means lifting the heaviness of burdens from whatever we've collected from our hearts so that we can live more powerfully and more connectedly, and in more awareness of the expanse of this experience. Said plainly, it might mean difficult conversations. It might mean new relational templates. It might mean being more gentle with ourselves and our own humanity. It might mean not performing roles and repeating scripts that have fallen beneath or below our energetic stature. Regardless if it means any or all of that, it will mean being more sovereign and more in charge of our personal energy and our own individual spiritual inheritance. And that is our gifts, that is our unique curriculum, that is our challenges, our growth edges, in stewarding our missions or adventures with more lightness and gravity. This is brief, this is and can be meaningful. It doesn't have to all be meaningful, but there should be some attention paid to what's happening here and what's happening now, and what's happening for me, what's happening within me. All in all, I am okay. I'm feeling good and certainly more aware. I have a deeper sense of gratitude and appreciation for this brief, but not currently ending human experience, of which I planned decades here. I plan to outlive a lot of this foolishness that's happening right now. I'm also more convinced of my work and feel fully equipped to do my personal mission, which is to play. And to be. To be with people, to be at this party, to be on this island, to be on this stage saying this stuff, kicking this good shit. So I invite you to join me and we can both enjoy and experience this whole thing together as ourselves. As always, this is the purpose, identity, creativity, authenticity, healthy living space. And I always am your willing tribute. Thanks for being here. Like and subscribe if you don't want me to go back to the hospital. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.